Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to dive into this one with you today. We're going to take a really fascinating journey into a classic piece of storytelling, Eldon the Elephant. Now, on the surface, it just seems like a sweet children's story. But as we peel back the layers together today, we're going to uncover a timeless moral framework that's been hiding right in plain sight.
So, picture this. You're walking through a deep, lush green forest, and out of nowhere, you hear this tiny voice calling out, "Help! Help!" You follow the sound, and you find a tiny human baby sitting completely alone right near the edge of the woods. Before we even meet our main protagonist, the stakes of this narrative are established instantly. We aren't just easing into this tale. We're immediately confronted with a situation of intense vulnerability, isolation, and high-stakes danger. This baby has wandered away from its village, and it is terrified and hungry.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We've got a really simple roadmap for our analysis today. First, we'll look at the anatomy of a fable, then the gentle giant archetype. Third is facing the dual trials. Fourth is the ultimate reward. And finally, redefining true strength. Starting us off with Section 1, Anatomy of a Fable, featuring a kind and powerful hero.
You probably already know that, by definition, a fable is basically a short story that typically uses animals as characters, specifically designed to convey a moral lesson. Well, the story of Eldon fits this classic framework absolutely perfectly. By using a non-human protagonist, an elephant, the story cleverly bypasses our normal human biases. It essentially uses the animal kingdom as a mirror to reflect and teach a universal, very human truth. It's a brilliant way to make the lesson accessible to literally everyone, regardless of their age or background.
Moving right along to Section 2, the gentle giant archetype and protecting the weak. Now, what's really fascinating about this specific archetype is the contrast. You have a character's immense, overwhelming physical power, but it's contrasted sharply by their inherent kindness and protective nature. And the source text does this immediately. It introduces Eldon not as some terrifying beast lurking in the deep forest, but as a deeply respected protector of the weak. The story establishes from line 1 that every single animal respects him precisely because he uses his immense power for good.
And the text executes this idea so beautifully. He is powerful, yet incredibly protective. Eldon uses his massive strength, specifically that highly muscular trunk of his, to gently lift this fragile, scared, hungry little baby. He then places the child safely onto his broad back. This single action is really the core of his entire character. It functionally and visually marries his overwhelming physical size with this profound, deliberate gentleness.
Which brings us to Section 3, facing the dual trials of the wolves and the river. A true hero's nature is revealed when they're tested from all angles, and this brilliantly illustrates the rule of two, where our hero faces very distinct types of danger. In Trial 1, we get the animate threat, hungry wolves suddenly popping out of the bushes and surrounding him. Overcoming this requires courage, physical intimidation, and standing totally firm against active, calculating malice. But then, Trial 2 is the inanimate threat. As he keeps going, heavy rain starts to fall, and a small river turns into a raging stream. This requires entirely different skills. We're talking composure, slow navigation, and extreme care to ensure the baby doesn't get wet against this chaotic environmental pressure. It shows that a true hero must be capable of overcoming both active predators and unpredictable natural circumstances.
Let's actually break down exactly how Eldon handles that first active threat, because honestly, it's a masterclass in tactical de-escalation. Step 1. When surrounded, he stood firm instead of running away. Step 2. He trumpeted loudly. And the text specifically notes that this shook the forest so much it made birds fly into the sky and monkeys shout from the trees, which really made the wolves nervous. Step 3. When the leader actually lunged to attack, Eldon didn't crush him. He simply used his strong trunk to push the wolf away. And step 4, he stamped his feet to demonstrate his immense power. He controlled the entire situation through sheer presence, making the wolves realize they couldn't possibly defeat the giant, which forced them to just retreat back into the forest.
All right, jumping to Section 4, the ultimate reward of fresh fruits and flowers. Let's see how this all builds, because the story packs an incredible amount of chronological momentum into just one single exhausting day. In the morning, under a nice sunny sky, Eldon hears that cry for help. By midday, the tension spikes as he has to fend off a dangerous wolf pack. Then, in the afternoon, the weather turns nasty, and he's crossing a raging stream in pouring rain. Finally, by evening, he reaches the village on the other side. The villagers have been frantically searching everywhere, and he safely reunites the baby with its crying mother, gently placing the child right into her arms.
Naturally, the parents are just hugging their child tightly, thanking this brave elephant again and again. And the specific tokens of gratitude the villagers bring him are so telling. They bring fresh fruits, bananas, sugarcane, and they decorate him with these incredibly colorful flower garlands. These aren't just mid-afternoon snacks, right? They symbolize this beautiful bridging of worlds. The humans are showing deep mutual respect to the animal kingdom. In fact, the text explicitly tells us that from that day on, the people and the animals became true friends.
Finally, we have Section 5, redefining true strength through courage, kindness, and love.
So what does this all mean? The crucial point is perfectly distilled in this quote straight from the source text. Real strength is not about fighting, it is about protecting others. Eldon absolutely had the physical power to destroy those wolves, but he chose to merely deter them. He had the massive size to just ignore the baby entirely, but he chose to shelter it. His legacy is one of joy, not fear. The story wraps up by telling us that whenever children hear the sound of an elephant's trumpet, they don't run away in terror. No, they smile. They remember the gentle giant who saved a baby with courage, kindness, and love.
And that leaves us with a pretty critical question to chew on as we wrap up this explainer. How can you apply Eldon's brand of protective, gentle strength in your own life and in your community today? True power, as we've seen, isn't about dominance. It's about who you keep safe and how you use your unique capabilities to lift up the vulnerable around you. Definitely keep that in mind the next time you face your own wolves or raging rivers. Thank you all so much for exploring this story with me.